Have you ever signed something, knowing that by writing your name, you were burying a part of your life? I'm not talking about just any contract. No, I'm talking about sitting across from someone who once told you forever, while deciding who gets the house where that forever was supposed to live. The house. It wasn't just bricks. It was where you imagined growing old, where you argued about wall colors, debating whether gray felt elegant or depressing, where laughter lived, and where, without noticing, silence slowly moved in. I never thought I would sell my house because of a divorce. Never. If you're watching this, maybe you understand that feeling. Maybe you're going through something like this. Or maybe you're afraid you're walking toward it without realizing it. This is my confession. Anonymous but real. It all started in a way that sounds cliché, but when it happens to you, it stops being cliché and becomes your life. I met my partner when I was 26. I wasn't looking for anything serious. I was focused on working, saving money, building something, that calm dream people think they can control and design perfectly. She walked into my life the way people do when they end up changing everything. Without warning. I remember the first time I heard her laugh. It wasn't a movie-perfect laugh. It was loud, imperfect, the kind that makes people turn their heads. And right there I knew I wanted to hear that laugh for the rest of my life. We fell in love fast. Maybe too fast. 3 years later we bought our house. It wasn't big. It wasn't luxurious. But it was ours. We signed the papers holding hands. We hugged in the empty living room while our footsteps echoed around us. We made ridiculous plans, like deciding what we would name a dog we didn't even have yet. We talked about kids' trips, growing old together, watching old TV shows on random Sunday afternoons. We were happy. Or at least, thought we were. Things don't break overnight. They wear down. In silence. First came work. We both started working longer hours. More responsibilities. More exhaustion. Our conversation stopped being about dreams and started being about bills. Then came the small arguments. Nothing major. Normal things supposedly. Who forgot to pay the electricity bill? Who came home late? Who spent too much time on their phone? Small cracks. Cracks you ignore because you believe love fixes everything. Spoiler, it doesn't always. The day I found out she was cheating, there was no dramatic music. No movie scene. It was a Tuesday. Just a regular Tuesday. I was looking for a document on her laptop because mine had died. And a message popped up. I wasn't searching for anything. I wasn't snooping. It just appeared. I miss you. 3 words. But they weren't meant for me. I remember feeling cold. Not in my chest. In my stomach. Like something had fallen apart inside me. I opened the conversation. I don't know why I did it. Part of me wanted to close everything and pretend I saw nothing. But another part needed to know how deep the lie went. I read messages, photos, plans to meet while I was at work. And then I saw the sentence that shattered me completely. With him everything feels routine, with you I feel alive. Routine. That's what I had become. When I confronted her, she didn't scream. She didn't deny anything. She just cried. And that hurts more than people imagine. Because when someone denies it, there's still something to fight against. But when someone just cries, you feel like the battle already ended, and you didn't even know you were at war. We tried to fix it. Therapy. Long conversations. Promises. Promises that sound beautiful when you're desperate to save what's left. But trust? Trust is like a glass cup. You can glue it back together, sure. But you'll always see the cracks. The following months were the strangest time of my life. We still lived together. But we were strangers sharing memories. We slept in the same bed with miles of emotional distance between us. The house started to feel different. Heavy. Silent. The walls that once held pictures started looking empty because we stopped creating new memories to hang. Until one day we said it out loud. Divorce. The word came out softly, almost whispered, but it sounded like an explosion. I thought separating would be the most painful part. I was wrong. The most painful part was selling the house. Because selling the house means accepting the story is over. There's no therapy that fixes that. There's no second chance when the keys end up in someone else's hands. I remember the day the real estate agent came. He walked through each room taking pictures, while we followed him like we were attending a funeral. This living room has great natural lighting. Yeah. That's where we celebrated our first anniversary. The kitchen is in excellent condition. That's where we learned to cook together during the pandemic. The backyard is perfect for family gatherings. That's where we had our last barbecue before we stopped talking for weeks. Every comment the agent made was professional, neutral, cold. And every word felt like a memory stabbing me slowly. Showing the house to potential buyers was even worse. We had to clean everything, remove our photos, hide our lives so strangers could imagine theirs. One day, a young couple came in with a small child. The kid ran through the hallway laughing. The mother stared at the kitchen excitedly. The father talked about renovation ideas. And I just kept thinking, that child could have been ours. I had to step outside into the backyard just to cry without anyone seeing me. The money discussion was another silent war. Who paid more? Who invested more? Who deserved what percentage? It's incredible how love turns into numbers when everything ends. We signed agreements, negotiated like we had never fallen asleep in each other's arms, and every signature felt like ripping another page out of our story. The day we received the final offer, we sat on the empty living room floor. No couch, no table, just us, and an uncomfortable echo. She said something I'll never forget. Do you think if we had talked more, we would still be here? I didn't know what to say, because the truth is we both failed. She betrayed me, yes, but I also let routine consume our connection. I don't justify cheating. I never will. But I learned relationships don't collapse in one moment. They are abandoned slowly. We signed the house sale papers on a Friday. The money went into a shared account that would soon stop existing. When we left the office, we walked together to the car. In silence. That was the last time we walked as a couple. I went back to the house a few days later to pick up the last things. The place was completely empty. And there's something nobody tells you. Empty houses sound different. Every step echoes. Every breath feels too loud. I walked through every room. The bedroom where we planned our future. The kitchen where we danced while cooking. The living room where we watched movies holding each other. And later stopped touching completely. I sat on the floor and cried harder than I had cried since childhood. Not just for her. Not just for the marriage. I cried for the version of myself who believed love alone was enough forever. Before leaving, I touched the hallway wall. That's where we had marked our heights, joking around, pretending we would grow together in every possible way. There was a mark that said, "First year in the house, red heart." I ran my hand over it like I was trying to memorize the texture. Then I turned off the lights, closed the door, and handed over the keys. That sound, the click of that lock, was the loneliest sound I've ever heard in my life. After divorce, people say things like, "Everything happens for a reason. You'll find someone better. Time heals everything." Maybe they mean well. But when you're broken, those phrases feel empty. What really happens is this. You wake up in new places that don't feel like home. You eat alone. You learn to live with memories that show up without permission. And worst of all, you start questioning everything. If you weren't enough, if you could have stopped it, if you were ever truly loved. It took months before I could walk into a house without feeling a knot in my chest. Months before hearing the word home didn't feel like a lie. But one day something changed. It wasn't dramatic. No big life epiphany. I was just drinking coffee alone, staring out a window, and I realized something. I survived. Not untouched. Not fully happy yet. But I survived. Today I can talk about this without completely breaking apart. Still hurts. Of course it hurts. Pain doesn't disappear. It transforms. It becomes a lesson. It becomes a scar. It becomes a memory. If you're going through something like this, I want to tell you something nobody told me in time. Infidelity doesn't start when someone kisses another person. It starts when we stop listening. When we stop speaking honestly. When we let routine replace connection. And if you are thinking about cheating, listen carefully. You don't just betray your partner. You betray memories, promises, future versions of both of you that will never exist. You destroy homes, even before children, pets, anniversaries, or dreams are even born. Infidelity doesn't just break hearts. It breaks entire stories. Selling that house taught me something brutal but real. Love needs presence. It needs uncomfortable conversations. It needs the courage to say, I'm not okay, before seeking comfort somewhere else. Because rebuilding trust is hard. But rebuilding an entire life from zero is devastating. Today I live in a small apartment. Nothing luxurious. Nothing like that house. But something is different. There's peace. A peace that costs tears, memories, and a story I never thought would end this way. If you made it this far, maybe you carry a similar story. Maybe you were betrayed. Maybe you betrayed someone. Maybe you're standing on the edge of a decision that could change everything. I just want to leave you with this. Before looking for excitement in someone else, talk. Before lying, confess how you truly feel. Before destroying a home, remember how much it costs to build one. 'Cause believe me, signing divorce papers hurts. Splitting money hurts. But handing over the keys to the place where you thought you would grow old, that changes you forever. If this story feels even a little like yours, you are not alone. And if you still have the chance to save your relationship, do it with honesty. Do it now. Because some decisions last minutes, but their consequences last a lifetime.